5 exercises that force your body to release growth hormone naturally after 60. There is a survival switch inside your muscles that, when flipped, forces your brain to flood your system with growth hormone, the single most powerful anti-aging hormone the human body produces, and the one declining most steeply in men over 60. Most men over 60 are exercising too safely to ever flip it. The movements they perform, comfortable loads, controlled effort, nothing genuinely challenging the physiological threshold where growth hormone release becomes significant, produce a growth hormone response so modest it barely registers above resting levels. Today, you are getting the 5 specific movements that cross the threshold where growth hormone release becomes dramatic. Movements that research documents producing growth hormone elevations of up to 400% above baseline in men over 60. Number 1, the lactic threshold. Secret: how metabolic stress triggers growth hormone release. Growth hormone is released from the anterior pituitary gland in response to specific physiological stimuli, the most powerful of which, from a resistance training standpoint, is the accumulation of metabolic byproducts within muscle tissue during sustained high-intensity effort. Specifically, lactate, hydrogen ions, and inorganic phosphate accumulating during sets exceeding the aerobic energy system's capacity to clear them in real time. This accumulation creates the lactic threshold, the metabolic tipping point where the burning sensation in muscle becomes pronounced and the pituitary receives a chemical signal that growth hormone release is warranted. Research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that resistance training producing significant lactate accumulation stimulated growth hormone release up to 400% above baseline in men over 60. Training below this metabolic threshold produced growth hormone responses less than 50% above baseline, regardless of total training volume. The threshold is crossed by sets of 8 to 15 repetitions at loads producing genuine muscle fatigue within that range. The burning sensation most men try to avoid by choosing comfortable loads is the precise physiological signal growth hormone release requires. Lean into it. 2 important practical points before the 5 exercises. Long, moderate cardio at comfortable pace produces minimal growth hormone response. It never reaches the lactic threshold. And these exercises double in effectiveness when combined with the deep sleep optimization in the bonus point. Number 2, the 5 movements, stimulating the pituitary through physical stress movement. 1, the goblet squat. Research from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that squats performed at 70 to 80% of 1 repetition maximum for 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions produced the largest growth hormone response of any single lower body exercise in men over 60, with response magnitude directly proportional to squat depth. Full depth, hip crease below parallel, recruited significantly more total muscle mass and produced correspondingly greater metabolic stress and growth hormone release. The goblet squat, single dumbbell held at chest height, allows full depth with reduced knee joint stress by shifting center of mass rearward. 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. 3-second controlled descent. Explosive drive to full standing. Rest 60 to 90 seconds, short enough to maintain metabolic stress, driving continued growth hormone release between sets. By the final repetition of each set, the burning in quadriceps and glutes should be significant. That is the lactic threshold signal. Do not reduce load to avoid it. That sensation is the growth hormone trigger you came to produce. Movement 2, the Romanian deadlift. Research from Hormones and Behavior found that posterior chain compound movements produced significantly greater growth hormone responses than anterior chain dominant movements at equivalent loads due to the large, fast twitch fiber density of the posterior chain, providing a particularly potent metabolic stress signal for pituitary release. 3 sets of 10 repetitions at a weight, making the final 2 reps genuinely effortful. Full range of motion, feeling complete hamstring stretch at the bottom before driving hips forward explosively. The mind-muscle connection, deliberately feeling hamstring loading throughout rather than allowing lower back compensation, both improves stimulus quality and ensures growth hormone-producing metabolic stress occurs in the target tissue. Movement 3, the dumbbell walking lunge. The walking lunge produces a distinctive growth hormone response mechanism. Squats and deadlifts do not fully replicate. The unilateral loading pattern requiring continuous balance adjustment creates a neural stress component, adding to the metabolic stress component. Research documents the combined stimulus as superior to equivalent bilateral loading for growth hormone release. Specifically, 20 meters of walking lunges with dumbbells at the sides, 10 steps per set for 3 sets. Descend until the trailing knee nearly touches the floor. Full range every repetition. Drive through the front heel with deliberate power. Rest 60 seconds between sets. The cardiovascular response, elevated heart rate maintained throughout, adds autonomic nervous system engagement, further amplifying the growth hormone trigger. Movement 4, the dumbbell bench press, descending set. A descending set on the dumbbell bench press produces the sustained high lactate environment that single weight sets cannot maintain as effectively. Begin with moderately heavy weight, 8 repetitions to near failure. Immediately reduce by 20%, 6 more repetitions. Immediately reduce again by 20%, as many repetitions as possible. Continuous lactate accumulation throughout the sequence without the clearance. A rest period creates a sustained metabolic stress signal, producing growth hormone release significantly greater than standard sets at equivalent total volume. 3 descending sets per session, 2 to 3 times weekly. Movement 5, the farmer's carry to overhead press complex. Pick up 2 challenging dumbbells and carry them for 20 meters. Farmer's carry activating grip, forearms, trapezius, core, and lower body stabilizers simultaneously. Immediately upon completing the carry, perform 8 overhead press repetitions, adding shoulder and tricep metabolic contribution to the already elevated whole body stress. Rest 90 seconds. 3 to 4 rounds. Research from the International Journal of Sports Physiology and Performance found that exercise complexes combining loaded carry with overhead pressing produced growth hormone responses 35% greater than either movement performed in isolation at equivalent total volume. This is the exercise anchoring the growth hormone protocol, and when performed as the final movement after squats, Romanian deadlifts, walking lunges, and descending bench press, the cumulative metabolic stress on the pituitary is as powerful as any natural growth hormone stimulus available to men over 60. If you want the complete SMART training protocol incorporating all 5 movements into a structured program alongside hormonal optimization, V-taper technique, right nutrition, and recovery, the Silver Athlete Blueprint has everything for men 60, 70, and 80 plus. Scan the code on screen or check the description and pinned comment. Before the bonus point, drop a comment telling us where you are watching from and whether you have been training at the metabolic threshold that actually triggers growth hormone or comfortably below it. Bonus point, the deep sleep trick that doubles your growth hormone results. Everything the 5 exercises produce in growth hormone elevation can be doubled through optimizing the deep sleep architecture in which the overnight growth hormone pulse occurs. Research from the journal Sleep documented that men over 60, combining high-intensity resistance training with optimized slow-wave sleep, showed growth hormone release over 24 hours, twice that of men performing identical training with poor sleep quality. The exercise provides the daytime stimulus. The sleep provides the overnight pulse. Miss the sleep, and you capture only half the growth hormone your training investment should generate. 3 specific conditions maximize the overnight growth hormone pulse. Bedroom temperature between 65 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. National Institutes of Health research confirms this range maximizes slow-wave sleep depth in older adults because cooler core body temperature is a physiological prerequisite for the deep sleep state where the growth hormone pulse peaks. No carbohydrates in the final 2 hours before sleep. Insulin elevation suppresses growth hormone release by competing for the same pituitary release pathway, blunting the overnight pulse by up to 75% when insulin is elevated at sleep onset. And 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate 30 minutes before sleep. Research from the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences found magnesium supplementation significantly increased slow-wave sleep duration and depth in older adults, directly amplifying the growth hormone pulse during that stage. Cool room, low insulin bedtime, magnesium glycinate. 3 conditions creating the precise sleep environment where the overnight growth hormone pulse reaches its maximum achievable magnitude. Combined with the 5 exercise movements maximizing the daytime stimulus, the result is a 24-hour growth hormone environment that no supplement can match, and that the aging male body is still completely capable of producing when given the right triggers at the right times. Final thoughts. Growth hormone after 60 is not declining toward irrelevance. It is waiting for the right physiological trigger, the metabolic threshold that safe, comfortable, below-intensity training consistently fails to provide. 5 movements, all producing the lactic threshold stress that research documents as the most powerful natural growth hormone trigger available to men over 60 without a prescription. Combined with deep sleep optimization, doubling the overnight pulse, the result is a 24-hour growth hormone environment that makes men over 60 look and perform as though aging lost track of them somewhere in their late 50s and never quite caught back up. Your body is not done producing growth hormone. It is waiting for you to give it a reason. Subscribe to The Silver Athlete, hit the bell, and share this with one man training too safely for too long. Check the description for the Silver Athlete Blueprint. Drop a like, and your next video is already on screen. Go flip the switch. Age bold, train hard, live strong.